Okay. Thank you for joining us. We will get started. And again, welcome. Before we get started, with just a couple of notices. This meeting is being recorded. My name is Connie Garcia Gaitan, and I will be your host for tonight's meeting. All participants are muted. You're automatically muted and you'll be muted throughout the meeting. So if you would like to see any captions, you can click on the live transcript CC button at the bottom. You can also, if you could also please locate the question and answer Q&A box. This is where we will encourage you to share your testimony if you would like to sign up for that. How to testify. So thank you to those who have signed up when you registered. If you haven't signed up to give a verbal testimony, but you would like to do so, please use the Q&A tool to let us know that you would like to sign up, and we will add you to the list. If you have any questions that is not related to the EIS process, a project team member will respond to you by email. We will answer any EIS process related questions. You can email your EIS testimony if you would like to do so to lakelineeis@bellevuewa.gov, or you could visit engagingbellevue.com Lake Washington line, which is the DEIS, so the Draft Environmental Impact Statement open house, and that use the survey form at the bottom. Our agenda for the day, for the evening, we'll go through introduction. So you will meet our project team and our speakers for the night. We'll go through background information on the management plan project. Then we will move into the State Environmental Policy Act and Environmental Impact Statement process background. We will have a brief overview of approaches for possible capital improvement projects to protect the wastewater system. And we will end the presentation with our public testimony section, where those who have signed up to share your public testimony will be unmuted and you will be able to give us your testimony. And we will wrap up with how to stay involved. And again, if you have any questions that are not about the EIS process or that are relating to the management plan, we will follow up with you after the meeting to answer those questions through email. So to introduce our project team, our first speaker will be Angela Chung, our City of Bellevue project manager. Then we will have Riley Pittman, the City of Bellevue EIS lead, and Laura Kamrick, our consultant management plan lead. Joining us today are the project team members as well. Linda DeBolt, Assistant Director for Engineering with the City of Bellevue, as well as Elizabeth Steed, Land Use Director, and Lisa Adelson, the Consultant EIS Lead. To get us started off with the project overview, I am now going to hand things over to Angela Chung.
Well, thank you, Connie. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for making the time to join us at this virtual public meeting. As Connie said, my name is Angela Chung, and I am the Senior Planner managing the project for Bellevue Utilities. I'll be going over a little Lakeline history, along with a brief introduction to the Lakeline Management Plan. So this is just a history that many of you may or may not be familiar with. Back in the 1900s, as homes started getting developed around Lake Washington, all the raw sewage from each of these homes, they were directly discharging into Lake Washington. So by the 40s and the increase in development and discharges, Lake Washington had become thick with blue-green algae. And my understanding was that it smelled incredibly unpleasant if you even got close. You can see the historical photo on the left, warning polluted water. So imagine trying to swim in that. Would you swim in that? Imagine what this did for our salmon that are returning to spawn. So something had to be done about this. So in the 1950s, cleanup began with the construction of what is now known as our wastewater lake lines. So you can see in this exhibit that the purple lines, those are our lake line sewer mains. They were installed in or on the shores of Lake Washington in order to collect and convey the sewage to King County's regional sewage system. So the private side sewers are shown in red. They're coming out of the houses and they go through the lake, and they previously just directly discharged the raw sewage into the lake. When this lake line was constructed, they were connected to this newly constructed wastewater lake line. Therefore, all the discharges would head out and into our King County sewage treatment plant. So by 1975, the lake had regained its clarity, and present day, as we all know, it's a healthier environment for returning salmon to spawn. And some of us, all of us, may go swim and recreate in Lake Washington. So how is Bellevue involved in this? Well, today, Bellevue Utilities manages 14.6 miles of these wastewater lake lines. This includes approximately 23 pump stations, and they serve well over 1,000 properties in Bellevue and the neighboring communities. As you can see, the blue lines on the map to the left shows the approximate location of our Lake Washington lake lines. Our lake lines go through 6 municipalities, starting from the north end. We have the town of Yarrow Point, the town of Hunts Point, the city of Medina, the city of Bellevue, the town of Beaux-Arts Village, and unincorporated King County. So if you recall, these lake lines were installed around the 50s and 60s. So if you do the math, that means some of these lake lines are now approximately 70 years old. So this leads us to our problem statement that our lake lines are aging and may begin to present service level, financial, and environmental risks if we don't begin to plan for the future. This also leads to the goal of our project, which is to create a Lake Washington Lakeline Management Plan, which will include plans for the continued maintenance, condition assessment, and future replacement of the lake lines. So why is a management plan important? Being prepared with a plan both minimizes the risk of failure and better equips Bellevue Utilities to continue providing reliable services to the community. Keep in mind that our management plan is a high-level planning project only. This will not include any design or construction. In addition, we're also preparing an environmental impact statement, or EIS, concurrently while we develop this management plan to make sure we're considering possible impacts of the different alternatives that we may replace the lake line with. We'll be speaking more about this environmental impact statement after a brief message from Connie. So Connie, back to you.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Angela. My brief message is just to remind everyone that if you have not signed up to share a verbal testimony and you would like to, please utilize the Q&A tool and let us know that you would like to. You can visit engagingbellevue.com/Lake Washington line to download a copy of the draft environmental impact statement, so the DEIS. You can also submit electronic testimony through the survey section by May 8th at engagingbellevue.com/Lake Washington line. So if you don't feel ready to today, you can also do that electronically. You can email the testimony to lakeline@bellevuewa.gov, or you could even mail it if you wish. You just have to write attention Riley Pittman so that the correct person gets that. And I will now pass it on to Riley to take us into our next section.
Thank you. Good evening. I am Riley Pittman. I'm the Environmental Planning Manager for the City of Bellevue and involved with the the drafting of the environmental impact statement as it relates to the Lakeline Management Plan. What is SEPA? So SEPA stands for the State Environmental Policy Act. That is what we are doing the EIS or the Environmental Impact Statement under. That requirement is under the state law. This law was established to help decision makers understand the impacts and environmental consequences of decisions they were considering, and also provides a process and framework and rules for how we go about noticing the public, determining what an impact is, and doing all the procedures and processes that we are required to under the State Environmental Policy Act. So what is an EIS and why are we preparing it? As again, an EIS stands for Environmental Impact Statement. This EIS is the most elaborate process we can do under the State Environmental Policy, or under the State Environmental Policy Act. It evaluates potential impacts to the built and natural environment. It involves or provides for substantial public input, as well as input from other agencies, other governmental agencies, cities, tribes, and that input is on key issues and potential solutions and alternatives that are being considered. And this allows the city to make the most informed decision that we can do under the EIS. So we previously had notice for the EIS scoping period, and so that was the first step in the process, and that is to effectively determine the scope of the analysis that we need to do and the range of issues that need to be studied. This notice of the scoping goes out to, again, all agencies, tribes, affected communities, organizations, and individuals regarding the scope of the potential study and focus area for the EIS. The next step is where we currently are in this process is the draft environmental impact statement. So this is the first kind of report out of what our analysis looks like at this moment. Basically, it is a draft, and so this is the first opportunity that the public and all the interested parties get to see, what we're considering. This addresses any comments and issues that we raised or that were raised in the scoping period, as well as any comments that we received from other public agencies and individuals. And with that, I will turn this over to Laura.
Great, thank you, Riley. My name is Laura Kemrick, and as Connie mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, I'm with Crollo Engineers, and I am the consultant management plan lead. I'm going to be sharing some of the alternatives that the EIS is analyzing to inform the potential solutions that we will include in the management plan. The potential solutions could take place in the lake, or on the shore, or upland. And it is important to note that the different areas of the system could have a combination of different selected solutions. There will not be one solution selected for the entire lakeline system. Doing work on the lakeline system presents multiple technical, environmental, social, operational, and financial challenges because of its location in and adjacent to the lake. Future solutions identified in this plan could have potential impacts on the environment as well as property owners and the public. The EIS is going to help identify and mitigate these impacts. Let me describe each of these alternatives in more detail. The first is no action. No action includes continuing to do maintenance, condition assessment, and emergency repairs on the pipelines, pump stations that make up the existing system. The second alternative is what we call in-water, and this includes work that would occur normally below the ordinary high water mark of Lake Washington and typically above the high water level of the lake. So this is in the diagram in front of you. This is the image. The lake is on the left side where you can see the blue, and the homes are on the right side. And the potential solutions for this alternative could include repair, replacement, or relocation of lines and associated infrastructure within the lake zone. This could be accomplished by installing a new gravity sewer main via open cut construction as shown in the graphic, or it could also include trenchless installation or repair of existing lake lines through methods such as cured in place pipe, spiral round pipe, slip lining, pipe bursting, or emerging technologies. Another alternative is what we call onshore. And onshore includes work in the general location between the home, shown in blue on the right side of your screen, and the lake, also shown in a different shade of blue on the left side, which is above the ordinary high water mark of Lake Washington in the shoreline area. And potential solutions could include the repair, replacement, and relocation of the lines and the associated infrastructure within the onshore zone. This can be accomplished by installing a new gravity main via open cut construction, as shown in this graphic, or other methods could include installation by trenchless construction or even perhaps a vacuum system. The last alternative is upland, which includes work generally located upland of the homes, away from the lake and the shoreline, within the general vicinity of the public right-of-way. Potential solutions could include relocation of the lines and associated infrastructure to this upland zone. This can be accomplished by installing a new vacuum, sewer, or grinder pump system that discharges into an upland main, as shown, for example, in this graphic. But other methods could include installing a new gravity line via open cut trench, trenchless construction, or a combination of these methods. Each of these 4 different alternatives may be selected depending on the service area or the location it is within the system. The identification of the preferred alternative will depend on evaluation factors. In order to identify the best suited for a service area, the following factors will be considered for each of the different alternatives: environmental impacts, performance, operation and maintenance, constructability, local community and stakeholders, cost, right-of-way and easement, and permitting. These factors will allow us for a holistic analysis of the 4 alternatives specific to their location within the system. This figure demonstrates the options analysis process that we will be using for the development of the management plan. Looking at your screen to the left, the team will first look at each of these individual service areas that include a portion of the Lake Washington sewer lakeline system. And then we will look at each of the 4 EIS alternatives that I previously described: no action, in water, onshore, and upland. And we will identify a range of benefits and challenges for each of these alternatives for the 7 evaluation factors. And the result will provide us the foundation for the management plan that's going to summarize the preferred option for the lakeline system within each of these service areas. In summary, this management plan will analyze the impacts of the identified alternatives based on this draft DEIS and recommend the preferred option for each of the service areas. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Connie.
Connie, you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Thank you, Laura. I would now like to share with the group that the timeline you can see in front of you walks us through what Riley had mentioned. So we had the EIS scoping period and public comment period from July to August 2022, as you can see denoted by one of the green stars. The draft DEIS was then drafted, and we are now in early 2023, where we are asking the public for the input as testimony. So again, you are able to find the draft DEIS and download it from engagingbellevue.com, Lake Washington line, if you haven't already. And you can provide your testimony via the survey submission on engagingbellevue.com, Lake Washington line, emailing your testimony to us, or mailing your testimony to us. And then after the DEIS phase, the team will work on the final EIS, and then the city will share that final EIS and management plan in early 2024. Perfect. And then, once again, if you have not signed up to share a verbal testimony and would like to do so, please use the Q&A tool for that. You can visit engagingbellevue.com/Lake Washington Line to download a copy of the DEIS and submit an electronic testimony if you would like by May 8th. Email your testimony or mail your testimony. To close out our meeting, I just wanted to share a little bit more as to how to stay involved. So again, to access the draft EIS and submit your testimony, you can visit engagingbellevue.com/Lake Washington Line to download a copy of the DEIS and review it. You could then submit electronic testimony through the survey section at engagingbellevue.com/Lake Washington Line by May 8th. You could email your testimony to lakeline.eis@bellevuewa.gov or mail your testimony to Riley Pittman at 450 110th Avenue Northeast, Bellevue, Washington, 98004. And again, if you want to submit any testimony by May 8th. And then for any questions or to learn more about the management plan and the EIS, for the EIS process, again, you could visit engagingbellevue.com/Lake Washington Line or contact Riley Pittman, who is our environmental planning manager at lakelineeis@bellevuewa.gov. Or for any general management plan questions, you could connect with Angela Chung, the project manager at lakeline@bellevuewa.gov. And you can visit our project page at bellevuewa.gov/lakeline. So thank you for your time, everyone. I hope you have a good evening.